I offer my very sincerest gratitude to the management of NSCI for facilitating this very wonderful place for this evening's satsang. My very sincere thanks to all of you who have so kindly come, taken your precious time for pursuing the most valuable cause of life. Krishna is the cause of all causes. Sarva karana karanam. Thus, there is no greater cause than trying to understand Him, love Him, and serve Him. In the 6th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit asks a very important question to Shukadev Goswami. Just previously in the 5th canto, Shukadev Goswami explained the various ways that the spirit soul within the clutches of material existence can both enjoy and suffer. Just as there are different environmental conditions within this world, on a much greater scale, this is taking place within the universe. In the North and South Poles, very, very cold. In Bombay in April, May, very, very hot. In a similar way, the Acharyas explain, there are heavenly planets where those who amass the credits of great piety can enjoy, far superior than even what pious people can enjoy in this world. And there are also places where there is great suffering, hellish conditions. We see throughout history, and very recently, even in this country, what hellish, unbearable sufferings can be inflicted upon human beings. Maharaj Parikshit, being a Vaishnava, a devotee of the Lord, was feeling very compassionate to every living being who is suffering. This is the nature of an enlightened soul. Prahlad Maharaj, who was then just a 5-year-old child, was put through the most impossible difficulties. But he graciously passed through all of them simply by surrendering his heart to the Supreme Lord. He was fearless, even when thrown into pits of snakes, blazing fire, put into the ocean, fed deadly poison, attacked aggressively with deadly weapons. He was fearless because Abhaya Charana Ravindare Bajahure Mana Sri Nandananda Abhaya Charana Ravindare, because his mind was always focused in great faith on the mercy of the Lord. One great military leader told his people that the only thing to fear is fear itself. Really, what is fear? What is the world? The world is interpreted subjectively by every living entity according to our perception. When Prahlad Maharaj was thrown into a pit of snakes, he was not seeing this as something horrible. He was seeing this as a wonderful opportunity. I'm completely helpless. I'm completely hopeless. In this state of mind, what a wonderful opportunity to just take the name of God and just put all my trust in Him. Therefore, he was happy. And he was only a child. So it is a fact. All the things we see within this world is actually just a mirror of our own consciousness. A person who has a positive attitude will see positive opportunities in every situation that comes before him or her. And a person who has a negative attitude will only see negativity. A devotee of the Lord sees that whatever situation I may be in life or in death, in comfort or hardship, in success or failure, in pleasure or pain, in health or disease, this is a perfect arrangement to learn, to grow, and to come closer to God. If you have that attitude, you'll find joy in every situation in life. I have often given example of my god sister Kunti Devi. She was on her deathbed. She was only in her mid-40s, dying of horrible cancer. Her bones were just disintegrated. She was paralyzed from the waist down. All she could do was just lay in a bed. She didn't even have the strength to hold up a book. Someone gave her a little computer where she could just touch buttons and read our Guru Maharaj's words. And people were coming in to her, and she was giving them happiness. She just had such a positive outlook. She said, I would not change my situation for anyone else in the whole world. So she was telling us. She told me that. She said, I will not change my situation for any person on the planet. I am so fortunate. She was going to die any day. She said, in this state, when I read the words of Gurudev and Krishna, I'm hearing that they're speaking to me personally. I've been reading the scriptures for the last 25 years, but I've never heard Krishna speaking so personally to me as now. What greater treasure is there than that? Sukadev Goswami has told us, better one moment of full consciousness than a long, 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 long life of wasted consciousness. After all, there are trees that live hundreds and even thousands of years. And there are tortoises that live hundreds of years. Human life is very special, because human life is the opportunity to develop the highest state of consciousness, the consciousness of eternity. Na jayate mriyate va kadachya nayak, that the soul is eternal. It has no beginning and no end. And it is the soul that is our true identity. Bhagavad Gita explains that this body is a yantra. It is a machine, like an automobile, that the soul is temporarily residing within. And death for the body is inevitable. Old age, disease is inevitable. Na hanyate hanyamane sarire. But the soul is transcendental. It is eternal, full of knowledge and full of natural bliss, transcendental ecstasy. That is who we are, what we are. So Shukadeva Goswami tells like this, that one moment of consciousness of our relationship with God as eternal servants is more valuable than living hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years in forgetfulness. So Kunti, laying on her deathbed, was saying like this, I am so fortunate. I'm hearing Krishna so nice. I'm chanting his name with such feeling like never before. If I wasn't in this predicament, I feel like Maharaj Parikshit on the bank of the Ganges hearing from Shukadeva Goswami. How fortunate. I just want to tell people about my good fortune and share it with them. And she was happy. And actually, even a television station, and they were not religious, they were not spiritual, they were just looking for sponsors, for commercials, for money, and trying to do the best they can. Even a television station that was totally secular and materialistic, they heard about this woman and did a special segment of a news show on her. They did actually a special show on her. And the lady who was the MC of that show, she was deeply moved. You have something so great. You're about to die, but you have something. You have more happiness. You have more hope than anyone I ever met in my whole life. Kuti was smiling. She said, yes, and I want to give this to you also. Try to understand what is the real purpose of life and how to achieve it. Every situation is a positive opportunity. To the degree we expect things to go our way, we are definitely going to be in great anxiety. Because they're not going to go our way. Sometimes they might, but usually they do not. Because every living entity within this whole cosmic manifestation has a different ahankar, or false ego. Yes? So you can't expect everyone to always treat you the way you want them to treat you. So many problems. Adi Atmaka, Adi Daivaka, Adi Bhautika. Adi Bhautika means miseries caused by other living beings. Sometimes our friends betray us. Sometimes people are competitive against us. Sometimes people insult us, blaspheme us, try to destroy us, or just neglect us. It's very difficult. And then there's Adi Atmaka. Miseries caused by one's own body and mind. At any moment something could happen to this body. Headache, fever, injury. And the mind. I don't think I have to say so much about the mind. We all know what it is. Even if everything we ever wanted, we have, the mind will still be in distress about how to keep it or what else to get. The mind's never satisfied for long. And then there is the miseries caused by natural disturbances, too much heat, too much cold, high winds, earthquakes, tsunamis, tidal waves, wildfires. So suffering is inevitable. Just like my dear God brother, His Holiness Sridhar Maharaj. He was also dying of cancer. And he used to often tell me, he said that pain is inevitable. Pain is unavoidable. But suffering is optional. It is true. Pain will come. Pain to the mind, pain to the heart, pain to the body, pain to the ego. But suffering is optional. It is really a matter of our perception. So yes, the simple lady, she was just a housewife, had 2 children, worked in the service of God and humanity for many years, tried to take care of her family nicely. But she had such deep, sublime realizations, perception of reality. And actually, that's what happiness or distress is about. Happiness and distress is not about the environment around us. It's about how we perceive it. Therefore, little Prahlad, he was seeing Krishna, the supreme object of his love. In every situation of life, he was turning to him, and therefore he was experiencing bliss. And Hiranyakashipu, who was his father, who was trying to murder him, it was absolutely intolerable for him. He's a king of the universe, and his little tiny son, and he's doing everything within his power to torture and kill his son, and his son is smiling in bliss. And his son just told my dear father, I feel such pity for you. Why are you wasting your life in this way? Just go to Vrindavan and turn to Krishna. You are in a deep, dark well of ignorance. So Maharaj Parikshit, after hearing about various ways that people have to suffer in hellish conditions, he was feeling deep compassion. He wanted to help them. So he asked Sukadeva Goswami, please tell me, and please tell the whole world, what is the solution for this problem of suffering, hellish conditions? And Sukadeva Goswami quoted from various shastras that according to one's particular sinful activity, there are particular formulas of atonement that will counteract the effects. It is called prayashchita. And in many religions, this is very popular. In the Middle Ages, especially in the Europe, when someone would commit sinful activity, they would pay a certain fine to the priest, and he would do a certain prayer and ritual to absolve you of that sin. So they became very wealthy. And here in India also, you can pay Brahmins to do pujas and mudras and yantras and tantras and yagyas to somehow or other counteract this sin and this problem and that problem and this black magic on me and this. I hear about it all the time in Bombay. But Shukadev, Maharaj Parikshit was not satisfied with that answer. He said, if an elephant takes a nice clean bath, the elephant will come out of that river and roll in the dirt and become dirty again. Unless the heart is clean, even if you atone for particular immoral activities, you will be forced by your uncontrolled mind to do it again and again and again. Arjuna asked this question to Krishna. Even people who want to do good, why is it that they are impelled to incriminate themselves again and again and again in immoral activities? Kama esha, krodha esha, rajo guna shamudbhava. Maha, Krishna told Arjuna that it is this kama, this passion to enjoy, which is transformed into wrath when it is unfulfilled, anger, that is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So Parikshit Maharaj says, I cannot accept this. What is the real solution to cure a person's heart of the disease to want to engage in these materialistic types of activities? Parikshit Maharaj was so compassionate. He was already a liberated soul. He was asking on behalf of you and me. You can understand a person's spiritual enlightenment by observing their quality of paradukkaduki. Anyone can speak slokas. Anyone can propound high philosophical concepts if they have that academic capacity. And these things are good if they're used for the right purpose. The actual quality, but to go back a little, Ravana and Hiranyakashipu, they knew hundreds and thousands of slokas and philosophies. They were really learned scholars. But what is the quality of a person who's actually close to God? Paradukkaduki. That other people's suffering becomes their own suffering. That they even become more concerned with the welfare of others than their own. When the Supreme Lord offered a benediction to Prahlad after he withstood so much remaining faithful to the Lord, Lord Narahari offered him anything within the 14 worlds. He offered him the mystic cities to perform miracles. He offered him liberation. He offered him elevation to the spiritual world eternally. But Prahlad said, how could I go back to the spiritual world when so many fools in this world, who are my brothers and sisters, are suffering? Let me remain with them to help them. That is paradukkaduki in a very developed state. Vasudev Dutt, he prayed to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the avatar of this age of Kali, that, my dear Lord, I have one desire, only one desire that's burning in my heart. Please fulfill it. When I see people suffering due to forgetfulness of their relationship with you, my Lord, my heart breaks. It is intolerable. Please grant me this benediction. Let me take the karma and the sins of every living entity in the universe on my head and suffer perpetual hellish conditions and give them all liberation. And he meant it. Sri Chaitanya, the Supreme Lord, Chaitanya, upon hearing his words, was weeping tears. To make God cry, you have to really be serious. He was weeping tears. His limbs were trembling. His voice was faltering. And he said, Vasudev Dutt, it is no surprise. It is not astonishing that you are asking for a benediction like this, because you are none different than Prahlad Maharaj. That is the nature of a pure heart. It is not just an artificial imposition. So this is actually a real quality of a saintly person. That they feel great compassion for those who are suffering. Parikshit had that compassion. Not just for the body and the mind, but he wanted a real solution for the eternal soul. It was then that Shukadev Goswami narrated the story of Ajamil. I believe you all know this story. Ajamil was brought up in a very, very good family. He was taught all virtues, morals, spirituality, and he worshiped the Lord. He was a very good Brahmin, and he had a very chaste and faithful wife. But somehow or other, this Maya Sukhaya, this desire to enjoy the illusory energy, was still in his heart. And due to materialistic association, he became bewildered. It could happen to almost anyone, unless they're very, very careful. He just happened to see a prostitute with a very sinful man enjoying together. And this awakened in his heart this deep desire to enjoy. And how the mind and senses, yatato hyapikonteya purushasya vipaschita indriyani pramatini haranti prashamam mana. Krishna tells in Gita that the senses are so strong and impetuous that they can forcibly carry away the mind and intelligence even of a man of discrimination. But then he gives the solution in the next verse. Tani sarvani samyamya yukta asita matpara vasehi asyandriyani tasya pragya pratishtata. That one must restrain the mind and senses and simultaneously fix the consciousness on me, Krishna says. The idle mind is devil's workshop. Only for so long can we just keep saying no to the mind and senses' immoral, materialistic, selfish demands. Vishayavani vartante niraharasya dehina rasya varudram rasopyasya param dristvani vartate. One can actually forever conquer over the mind and senses only if we experience a higher taste. by engaging the same mind and the same senses in positive spiritual activities. The mind and senses are busy and in the meanwhile purifying the heart. Our beloved Guru Maharaj Srila Prabhupada explains that the soul is originally pure. It is eternally pure. Just like when a drop of water falls from a cloud, it's pure, it's crystal clear. But when it comes in contact with the ground, it acquires dirt, mud, and other such pollutants. And therefore its transparency is lost. In fact, with mortal eyes, it's very difficult to see something transparent. But when something's polluted, you can see it very grossly. So that is the condition of our consciousness. When it comes in contact with the three modes of material nature, Rajaguna, Sattvaguna, Tamaguna, when it comes in contact with this material energy, so many egoistic conceptions awaken. We forget our eternal nature. I am this body, and then we start thinking, I am of this caste, I am this sex, I am of this social status, I am of this age. And whatever is close to this body is mine to enjoy. And then when we try to enjoy in that spirit, we become incriminated in so many karmic situations, and we become more and more and more polluted. And in this age of Kali Yuga, it is so unfortunate. It's very rampant in the West, and it's unbelievably invading India, especially Mumbai. This conception that the enjoyment in life is to accumulate more and more filth, dirt, pollution in our hearts. That is happiness. That is being cool and prestigious. Yes? How much we can drink, how many sexual affairs we could have, how much we can cheat people, how much we could gamble, how much we can watch all kinds of immoral scenes in the cinemas. When I was a small boy, I remember gangsters were idolized. They were like heroes. Yes? I don't know if you know American history, but John Dillinger, he was a murderer and a bank robber. But he was a legend and a hero in America. And when the police shot him dead, people were mourning. The government didn't put their flags on half-mast, but people were mourning. They were condemning the police. This is considered exciting. Yes, we see in the hoardings of Bombay, people with knives and people with blood all over them, and yes, women dressed in various provocative ways. People are thinking, oh, this is what I want to be. These things are considered great. Being very proud, egoistic, very attractive. Smoking cigarettes. Our Guru Maharaj, there was a cigarette sign saying smoke, find refreshing coolness by smoking cool cigarettes. That was the name, cool. Prabhupada said, this is Maya. They're putting fire in their mouth. They're putting burning fire in their lungs, and they're told that it's cool, and they believe it. So this is a very unfortunate situation. Actual civilization is where people are respected or honored when they're genuinely striving and making sacrifices for purity, morality, and realization of God. Today, even in colleges and universities, you're considered very unfashionable and unpopular if you talk about God and morality and ethics and purifying your heart. Let us enjoy. But people don't know what real enjoyment is. Spiritual life is supremely most enjoyable. So compassion to the body, mind, and especially to the soul. I heard a story, it's a true story.